So in business school, we talk a lot about equity, and so today I want to talk about equity through collegiate athletics. To share a little bit about myself, almost 10 years ago, I was recruited to be a collegiate athlete, and I ended up playing for Emory University, and I actually did enjoy a lot of success while I was there. I beat a lot of my D3 opponents as well as D1 and D2 opponents. And after my 4 years there, I was a 3-time national champion. And I also became the first African-American woman to win a national championship in singles in any division. Because Instagram wasn't really a thing, I'm gonna flex a little bit. I had my Instagram where I got 20 likes, I got a few shout outs from Sports Illustrated, and a 10-second cameo on ESPN during commercial breaks. But I took advantage of the opportunity to make the most out of being an athlete while I was at Emory. And while at Emory, the reason I chose it was because of my academics and because of athletics. And Division III says, the Division III experience offers participation in a competitive athletic environment that pushes student athletes to excel on the field and build upon their potential by tackling new challenges across campus. So I took advantage of all of these opportunities on campus beyond being an athlete. Outside of the 20 hours that I would practice, I was involved in volunteer activities, I was involved in mentorship. And now that I'm a graduate student, I reflect on how much time I really have outside of my athletics. I've even been talking to my advisor who's in the room about academic internships in sports specifically, and student athletes just really don't get this opportunity to have an academic internship where you can earn money and where you can gain valuable work experience. So while I've reflected on my collegiate athletic experience, I've come to realize that irrespective of division, whether it's Division I, II, or III, student athletes are at an economic and earnings disadvantage compared to their classmates. Now, in the NCAA, they're talking about this a lot right now, about whether student athletes should be paid. And this is usually centered around Division I athletes who are at the top revenue generating, or who play in the top revenue generating sports like women's basketball, men's basketball, and football. And this is because they generate billions of dollars for their academic institutions. And while I understand the monetary contributions that they make to their schools, I don't think that athletes should get paid. Part of the reason is because the current educational system doesn't serve all students who want to go to school. And even Elizabeth Warren, she has come up with a plan for her presidency where she wants to cut student loan debt, she wants to cut tuition to certain colleges, and I don't think in our society where we can't support our students currently and all of those who want to go into education that we should be paying athletes beyond their academic or athletic scholarships that they have earned and that cover academic expenses. Also, with the billions of dollars that these athletes make, their coaches like Clemson's head coach, who just signed a $100 million deal over the next 10 years to be the coach at Clemson. And again, I don't think as much of this money should be going to people like this, and should be going to people who cannot afford a higher education. So I really think that there's no merit in paying college athletes, especially being paid by the academic institutions. But as I said, I do think that there's an earning and economic disadvantage compared to their classmates. So for this reason, I think that they should be able to monetize their brands through sponsorships. Just to paint a picture, if there was a music student at UCLA and they potentially wanted to be a musician in their career, they could create an Instagram, they could, they could post pictures, they could post videos, and companies could support them and give them paid sponsorships. If I would have done that 10 years ago as a collegiate athlete and post tennis content, I wouldn't have been able to make money and monetize my own brand. So to tackle some of these issues, some states are coming out with legislation like California with the Student Athletes Bill of Rights. And it says collegiate athletes, the majority of whom are members of one or more vulnerable sectors of society, should be shielded from economic and educational discrimination. In today's society, where there's so many influencers who make lots of money, and you are able to monetize your brand, there's really no reason that student athletes shouldn't be able to do this as well. In the case of Donald De La Haye, he was a college football player at the University of Central Florida, and he had a YouTube channel. And on his channel, he had a lot of mixed content. He had athletic-related videos and other. And the NCAA told him that he could not use ads to monetize the sports-related content. He had thousands of followers, he had millions of views, and so he decided that instead of getting rid of his NCAA or his YouTube channel, which would make him not be eligible to play football, that instead he would keep his YouTube channel and not give in to the NCAA's monopolistic and archaic views. As I was preparing for today, I was browsing the NCAA's website, and I found this really cool tool where you can see demographic information for coaches and student athletes. And so I filtered by some of these top revenue-generating sports, which are men's basketball and men's football. And I looked at the last 5 years and also filtered by Division I. And you can see that in the orange, this represents the black males, and they make up the largest percentage of these players in these sports. So given that the black community earns significantly less than other sectors of the population, and given that these students make up the largest percentage in these revenue-generating sports, I really think that they would be able to have significant economic gains for their families and the community if they were able to monetize their brands. Further, the NCAA doesn't just restrict them, they restrict their families and related parties as well. So this is a cycle of suppression of the economic opportunity that would otherwise be available for these communities. As the NCAA gets all the pressure of this topic, changes have to be made, and it won't be perfect, and there will need to be some iterations, but I do think that the NCAAs and schools have an opportunity to use sports as a mechanism for a more equitable society and to still do right by their athletes. I hope that UCLA is a leader in this change and in enacting change for the policies of the NCAA. And I hope that you in the audience, and especially those who are in the sports industry, will support the student athletes in this process as well. Thank you.